The Weeknd, Dua Lipa, Taylor Swift, and Billie Eilish. They sound nothing alike, but their biggest hits have one thing in common: a great melody built from the same core blueprint. And I used to really struggle with melodies. It wasn't until I started working with high-level producers and artists, I realized something kind of wild. Melodies are not random. Underneath, they're built inside of a framework. So by the end of this video, you'll have all of the tools and frameworks you need to make memorable and emotional melodies that take your track to the next level. Let's dive in. Technique number 1, phrase architecture. Impactful melodies don't always begin with notes. I always noticed that some of the best writers I worked with focus solely on the rhythm of a phrase before pairing it with any notes at all. And in modern pop, two shapes show up again and again. The first is AAAB, 3 repeated phrases, then a twist. I want to show you an example of this in Stay by the Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber. The second is ABAC, statement, variation, return, and payoff. It's really more emotional and more story-driven. Here's a great example with Someone You Loved by Lewis Capaldi. These shapes create that expectation, making it easy for the listener to absorb, and the twist at the end is what really keeps you listening. But here's the part most people overlook. Melody doesn't start with notes, it starts with rhythm. Hooks in modern pop are typically rhythm first. A groove, bounce, or rhythmic cell, then the melody or notes are layered on top. But phrase architecture alone doesn't create emotion. So what really gives a melody its feeling? Technique number 2, orbit notes. The best pop melodies don't float around randomly. They orbit around a central tone, and that orbit really defines the emotional center of the phrase. And of course, different orbits give different emotional colors. Orbit the second note of the scale and it feels cool, emotional, and distant. That's that cool confidence that you would get with someone like Dua Lipa. And there's a great example in Don't Start Now. This is what it sounds like. Orbit the third, and it feels sweet, warm, and emotional. You can most definitely hear this in Billie Eilish's Birds of a Feather. What's wild is that simply changing the orbit note and not the chords can totally change the emotional vibe. So how do you make your melodies instantly recognizable? And that's where technique number 3 comes in: note clusters. Most Billboard melodies don't use the entire scale. They zoom in 3 or 4 notes and commit. And that there is your note cluster. And it's what makes a melody instantly recognizable. Check out these examples. In Stay, we've got 1, 7, and 5. In the pre-chorus of Don't Start Now, we have 1, 4, and 3. And we have the same combination in Without Me by Halsey. Okay, so my main camera's just died, but we're going to continue with this one. Even if 2 songs orbit the same note, if they use different clusters, they feel completely different. And of course, they're flexible. Many pop songs use one cluster in the verse and a different one in the chorus to shift the tone and feeling of it without changing the chords or tempo. But even with that flavor and structure, each section still needs to land. So what really gives it that power? Technique number 4, entry and resolution. This is really where you make or break the phrase. And 2 things determine whether a melody lands: entry timing and resolution. Firstly, entries. Where your melody starts before, on, or after the downbeat changes everything. I was in the studio once with a great producer and writer in Sydney, and he was talking to me about how they write these pop songs in Sweden. He suggested that using a combination of hitting the phrases before, after, and on the first beat per section is really what makes each section hit. So that might sound a little bit confusing, but here's a really great example of this. If we have a look at each section of The Weeknd's Blinding Lights, this is what it sounds like. So as you can hear, the melody starts before for the verse, after the first beat for the pre-chorus, and then right on beat 1 for the chorus. That change up is what gives it excitement and momentum. You can hear a similar thing in Blank Space by Taylor Swift. Have a listen. So as you could hear, the verse starts after beat 1, the pre-chorus right on beat 1, and then the chorus after beat 1. As long as there's some variation, you're going to see a massive difference in how each section feeds into the next. And this isn't just used for the entire structure of the song. You can hear this within the smaller phrases of melodies, and if you ever feel stuck, this is a great tool to help give the track momentum. And now we move to resolution. The orbit gives you that tension, and the resolution is what can really make your melodies sound complete. The most common resolutions you might see: 2:1, 4:3, 5:1, and 7:1. You'll hear them over and over, like in Don't Start Now, and of course in Birds of a Feather between 3 and 4. With the 4 resolving to 3. These resolutions feel earned because they close the loop. So now let's put all of these techniques together. Let's see if you can build a melody that feels like a hit, using the same tools that pop writers use. Here's the 4-step builder. Start with a phrase shape, AAAB or ABAC. Pick your orbit note, 2, 3, 5, or 1, or anything that fits the vibe of your track. Choose a tight flavor cluster like 3-4-1, and of course don't forget you can go outside of that cluster. This is really just to give the melody an emotional center, and then end with a resolution, maybe 2:1, or 4:3, or even 7:1. Use these tools and I'm certain that you'll start to see an improvement in your melody writing. And if you're looking to finally start creating release-ready tracks and you want my direct help to make that happen, hit the link below and book a free call. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.